With dolls, they wouldn't have to ask so many questions. But Cece's colleague, Dr. Maggie Brook, conducted tests that led her to conclude using dolls also leads kids on.
I would think anatomically correct dolls would be a good, neutral way to ask questions.
I thought the very same way, but after having had this experience, I'm not quite sure how you do that.
Brook had this pediatrician add some extra steps to his routine physical examination of preschool kids. He measures the child's wrists with a ribbon. He puts a little label on the child's stomach, and he tickles the child's foot with a stick. Never does the doctor go anywhere near the child's private parts. Then, right after the exam, using an anatomically correct doll, Brook asks leading questions about the doctor's exam.
Can you show me on the doll how Dr. Emmett touched your vagina?
No, he didn't.
He didn't?
The child tells the truth. But just a few days later, Dr. Brook and the child's father again ask about the doctor's visit. It's a different story. Before Brook has a chance to even bring out the doll, the child shows how the doctor had strangled her with the ribbon.
He
put that around your neck? Like that?
Tight. So tight.
And watch what happens when the doll's brought out. She's asked to explain what the doctor did that day.
So what did he do?
He put a stick in my vagina.
He put a stick in your vagina?
Yeah.
Just like that?
It gets even more violent.
No.
She claims the doctor hammered the stick into her vagina. Then she shows how the doctor examined her.
He looked where?
My honey.
He did look in your hiney?
Of course, none of it is true. Dr. Brook found that when dolls were used, half the kids who'd never had their private parts touched claimed the doctor had touched them. These tests make Dr. Brook question some of the recent testimony by children in court.
Do you think there are dozens of people in jail now who are totally innocent?
Yes, I do.
The researchers' findings are only beginning to be heard in courtrooms. Most prosecutors still argue that children wouldn't lie. Prosecutors want to put Kelly Michaels back in jail. In a few months, they plan to retry her with the same charges.
I will fight to the end because I am an innocent woman, and I can look anyone in the eye, and if I have to fight for the rest of my life, then I will do that. So I'm prepared for whatever will happen.
You don't sound scared.
No, I'm not scared. I'm angry and I'm outraged, but I'm not scared.
The Sousas are planning an appeal of their own. Like Kelly Michaels, they believe a day will come when the courts and their grandchildren realize the truth.
When those kiddos grow up, when they become adults, they're going to realize that these things never happened between Shirley and I and them. And I know that they're going to realize that. They're bright children, and they have a mind of their own. And when nobody's prompting them, when they grow up, they can remember and will embrace.
Well, John, you know, I remember I first worried about this sort of thing after some of the early cases that we reported. But children can be so convincing. How do we separate out when they're telling the truth from when they're not?
There is no good way. There are all kinds of experts who will testify in court as paid expert witnesses, and they often say they can tell. But Dr. Cece ran a test where he showed them tapes of kids. Some of them were lying, some were not. And the experts would say, oh, I can tell, but what they said was wrong half the time. In fact, more than half the time. So they did worse than chance.
Clearly, there are real cases of sexual abuse of children, and we have to address that.
Yes, and Dr. Cece won't testify on behalf of the defense because he's afraid he'll let a real molester off because of this. But it's important not to influence the children, and Cece says to test an alternative hypothesis. In other words, to ask the child, well, Joe did this to you, and then what did Jane do to you? If the child starts talking about more people, then at least you have a reason to be suspicious.
Thank you, John.
Well, next, for more than 11 years, she was one of the most powerful women in the world. Now the former British Prime Minister is talking